Hello, and welcome to this GenAI lab where we will be analyzing variances in expenses between what was budgeted and what the actual expense was for different departments within a company. This is helpful because companies can see where the budget is way off from the actual data and correct that for the future so that the budget is more accurate and useful going forward. So the first thing we'll do is open up Copilot and ask it to start a new chat, just to make sure we're starting off with a clean slate. And then we are going to upload our data file. So we can hit the plus, add images or files, and then we'll be looking at this data file right here. So go ahead and open that. And then we're going to ask it to please read the attached file, just to make sure that it's doing that correctly and it looks correct. Just to make sure it's getting the right data, we can say please print out the last 5 rows of the file. And it looks like it's only done 4 rows, but I'm guessing it's counting this as a row. But they do look correct, so we can go ahead and move on to the next step, which is to calculate that variance amount, and that'll be the actual expense minus the budget expense. And then we also want to calculate the variance percentage, which is that variance amount over what was budgeted, and then do that for each department in the data set. Okay, so it looks like it's done that for all 20 of our departments, and then looks like we have some positive and some negative amounts depending on if it was favorable or unfavorable, and it looks like it came up with those percentages as well. So now that it's done that, we're going to ask it to identify which departments have favorable. So those will be the negative amounts because it means actual will have been less than budgeted. And we also want to see the unfavorable where actual was more than budgeted, which will be those positive amounts. And then list them in order. So it's coming up with unfavorable variances first, where actual is greater than budgeted. And these are the different amounts and also those percentages, and it does look like it did in order. So we had the largest difference with our facilities, and then we were closest with our budgeting with marketing, it looks like. And then it's come up with the favorable variances. And those all look right, and it's done that in order. Okay, and so now that it's done that, we want to visualize the data. So we're going to ask it to create a bar chart that shows each department on the x-axis and the variance amount on the y-axis, then use different colors to distinguish those favorable and unfavorable variances. Okay, so let's take a look at this. It does have those departments along the bottom and those different amounts along the side. And it looks like green is representing our favorable variances, and then red is those unfavorable variances. Where those bars are shorter, it means we were closer with our budgeting, and those longer bars are going to represent the greatest differences with our budgeting. Okay, so now that we have that visualization, we're going to ask it to analyze these results and come up with some potential reasons for why there might be a difference between budgeted and actual expense. Okay, so here are the largest differences. And then some reasons are maybe unexpected maintenance, changes in regulations, some price increases. Yeah, and these all seem like valid reasons that those amounts might be different. And now we're just going to ask it to give us that chart again as PNG file. And then we are going to ask it to give us those prompts. And it looks like it can't create a Word file, but it did give us them so we could copy and paste that if we wanted. Okay, so in this lab, we learned about variances and expenses and why it's important to be accurate with budgeting so that we avoid those unfavorable variances and have more reliable budgets. And that is all for this lab. Thank you for watching.